Take the chains off the brain. We've been handcuffed. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are and wherever you're listening to this. I am one of your hosts, randydjames, aka RDJ.
Okay. And I'm your other host, Ashley, aka Threes, aka it's Threes, aka Threely, aka the bad. No, I'm just lying. That's it.
You know
That's
what?
it.
I tried to keep it normal today.
Okay, you
I
know what?
really
You're right.
did. I had the mindset.
Let me do it again.
Good morning, good
I
evening,
said,
good
let
night,
me do
wherever
it
you.
again. Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead. It's
You
about the
sure?
man today.
Are
Yeah,
you,
go
are you
ahead.
sure?
Go ahead. You got this.
What's about fathers? Not really the
Well,
man,
yeah.
but
All right. Well,
all right,
okay.
all
Well,
right.
all right. Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. I am one of your hosts, Randy D. James, aka RDJ.
And I am your other host, Ashley, aka. And I'm Ashley, your other host.
Not even your normal tone.
That's
Like,
it.
what are we
I was
doing?
trying to go into like reporter tonight at 11, but I'll just leave it at that. Okay. Y'all know me. Y'all know what it is. All right.
And we want to thank you guys for entering the grade with us today. Today is a special day for all the fathers out there, all the soon to be fathers as well. Today is Father's Day, and today is the day that we're recording. We're recording on Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers, and Ash, to your father.
Yeah. Happy Father's Day. Yeah, this is a tough day for me, but my father, I mean, I've said it on other episodes, but my father is hopefully is in heaven.
Hopefully it's
That's crazy.
crazy.
I'm
Yeah,
just
but
saying. I'm just saying.
sheesh.
Hopefully he's resting peacefully. But yeah, it's a tough day. But definitely shout out to all the fathers out there and stepfathers for sure. Yeah, all the father figures, the uncles and the granddads that are like fathers,
Yeah.
shout out to y'all. So, yeah.
The teachers, the guidance counselors, anything that's resembling a father figure in anyone's life. Shout out to you. Today is your day.
Yeah.
And with
Thank
that
you.
being said, we also want to tap into something similar to that with today's topic in men's mental health.
It is
We're
Men's
also
Mental
gonna,
Health Month.
yeah, it is, and we're also gonna put a twist to it because do women have a mental health day?
Every day is Women's Mental Health Day,
Right.
basically.
So we're
You
gonna
know,
include that as well. Okay.
we'll include it. Well,
But
I mean, it makes sense because it's a man
it's
and a
a
woman
right.
hosting this show, so that
Yeah.
makes sense.
And today's topic has been long kept in the shadows for a long time, and it's not
Hmm.
been things that hasn't really come to light until in the recent years, you know.
Yeah.
But we're not just talking about like where men are now. We're going to go back to where it starts from childhood to parenting to the environment that shapes us all, you know. So um, we ask ourselves several questions throughout the day, me as a man, and ask us as people, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
We probably ask ourselves, like, you know, why is it hard for like many men to open up? Or, you know, why does it, why is it a quiet weight, anger or shame or sadness that sits inside? And it often goes unnamed, you know? So
Hmm.
today's episode isn't just about answers. It's about questions as well. So, you know, questions that we need to ask each other, questions that we need to ask um, ourselves, you know, about what boys are taught, what they suppressed, and, you know, what kind of world are we trying to raise them in, you know, or what world we was raised in. So
Yeah.
let's start with the big one. Let's start with home. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
What role do parents play in shaping a boy's emotional world?
You want me to go first? Or what I think?
Yeah.
I think the I think having both parents, um, see, it's kind of hard to answer because it depends on the parents. But in a perfect world or in a semi-perfect world, what I would say is that it's important for um, boys to grow up with both parents so they understand the balance of what I'm feeling versus what I need to do versus how to talk about it versus how to handle it, things like that. Um, we do live in a world full of, I always talk about toxic masculinity. And that starts with little boys, like literally kindergarten, maybe pre-K, like boys don't touch this, boys don't play with that, boys don't, you don't like the color pink, you don't like the color purple, you don't like, you know what I mean? And so it's like it's taught so young that it it shapes, unfortunately, it shapes a young boy's mindset in a negative way for the most part in what I have experienced. Um, it's just a lot of toxicity that happens from a very young age with little boys, and it, like I said, it happens with both parents.
Mm.
Um, and it's unfortunate. It's just unfortunate. I would definitely design parenthood differently if I could.
I know for sure it kind of goes both ways for sure when it
Hmm.
comes to like saying, "Oh, don't touch that," or "You don't like this color," or "Don't say
Hmm.
this," or "Don't say that." Some women are more receptive to handle that than men.
Hmm.
I think men are just shaped different because of how they were shaped when they were boys.
Hmm.
So you got to have the modeling emotional behavior to
Yeah.
begin with, and that is pretty much setting the tone for like the emotional expression. You know
Hmm.
that the child is able to have. You know what I'm saying? So we learn a lot, not even just from like pre-K, because I do agree with that, but I think
Yeah.
from birth, everything is being shaped as the foundational role as a parent in
Yeah.
the boy's life. So,
Oh,
or
I would agree
child.
with that. I would agree
Okay.
with that. Even from like how babies are nurtured. Don't get me wrong. Nowadays things are changing. Yes. So I'm not counting that, but I think we all know of or can relate to the experience I'm about to say, where it's like mothers nurtured the babies and the
Uh-huh.
fathers just go out and do the stuff, and you know what I mean? Like it's like you go to your mama for all that. Even as like a you just born infant, you know what I mean? It's like the mothers are nurturing and the fathers are they there. You know what I mean? And that's not everybody's experience, of course, and that is changing a lot. Shout out to all the fathers. Like, oh, I gotta love seeing it on TikTok and Instagram. Like the fathers actually like being present and
Fathers
sharing
there.
equal responsibility. Like I love it. And in real life, I'm not just saying that that's on social media. I'm just saying I could consume it more on social media than I can in real life. Um, but yeah, I got you. When you said that, I was like, oh yeah, that's true. It does start even from birth.
Right, because they already trying to impress sports on you, or
Hmm.
blue or some other um more male friendly colors other than like
Hmm.
pink and yellow and stuff to that
Right.
degree, which it is okay, don't get me wrong, it is okay, but I think parents feel like that kind of influences their direction of sexuality once they start to grow up, and that's unfortunate as well. But even from that point, as they start to grow up, like what I'm saying, a father or a mother um that like hides the sadness or like hides like the explosive anger that they have, or they avoid like vulnerability. um I said we as in boys, we
Yeah.
internalize that, and that has that it becomes a normal male response. You know what I'm saying? The internalization of those emotions, especially if we don't know that you're hiding it, but we don't see it. You know what I'm saying? So having parents that kind of model like the emotional expression, like saying like, "Today I feel sad," or "You know what? I'm proud of how I handled that stress," or whatever the situation is. It
Hmm.
teaches the boy to kind of have an emotional honesty with themselves versus seeing it as a weakness. You know, so If a boy never sees a man cry, what does he learn about sadness?
That is very, very true. I think I'm jumping ahead to the end of the podcast, but I feel like I'm learning so much that men and women don't really realize how similar we are, because in that experience that you described, I've had that same experience. I've said before, I might have said it on the show or maybe just to you, but about my daughter, where I always pretend like I always put on a good face, like everything's good, everything's fine, I got it. And she was like, yo, if you don't teach me how to weather the storms, I'm going to drown. Like, you're making it all
Right.
rainbows and sunshine, and life isn't like that. And I was like, girl, you are right. She was like, I need to know if you're having a bad day. I need to know if like you're struggling. I need to know how to handle these things because life is hitting me. And I'm like, just supposed to smile through it. And it's not the way to do it. So it's like we try to protect well, I'm speaking as a parent. You try to protect your kids and shield your kids from certain things, but you actually can be doing them a disservice. So to see, and I've experienced that too. On the flip side of what you said, there's been in households the dynamic where women can't speak up. Whatever the man says, that's what goes, blah, blah, blah. So women or girls will grow up being silenced, not being able to use their voice. And then in life, they grow up not advocating for themselves, not speaking up for themselves, and going with things that are actually hurting them because that's what they've seen. So, like I said, I feel like I'm skipping to the end, but my brain is like,
I
men and
mean,
women
yeah,
are so much alike.
but we're gonna. I think it's not really skipping to the end. I think we're gonna bounce a lot. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying over here. So I mean, we'll probably have, or whatever situation is, structure for what we want to
Okay.
kind of have. But at the end of the day, whatever we feel in that moment, I mean, it's open to say
Okay, cool.
this
This is
is
the
where
gray.
we at. This is
You
great.
know,
This
yeah.
is the
It's how
great.
we talk
But
anyway, try to keep it structured and
we try
professional for
to, and then
y'all.
we tangent, and then we're like, oh, let's wrap it around. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
nevertheless, I think like households, parents do try to create like emotional rules for the house. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? So setting the emotional norms inside the house is probably another key element. You know what I'm saying? When
yeah.
trying to show like modeling behavior. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So whether they realize it or not, we got to ask ourselves when actually boys or girls, let me put that out there, when we see tears or when the parents see tears, is it met with comfort or is it met with punishment? Is it from comfort or is it from punishment?
Mm,
And like even with that, it's like the anger that boys experience, is that the only emotion are they allowed to have? Because anything else isn't acceptable. Boys are kind of raised to be like emotionally repressive to like the environments, and it may be a learned way to start suppressing emotions or
yeah.
convert them into aggressive or a numbness. And it's something that I experienced when I was growing up as well. So I know all too well about that. So
Yeah.
having some type of norms of emotional expression inside the house is definitely a key element parents would want to
Yeah.
implement.
And that's another reason why I feel like having the balance of both parents there is good, because not saying I agree with these, but what society, our society, is saying is like, if a boy is brought up in a single mother household, he's going to be more feminine. He's going to be super
Right,
emotional. He's soft, but
right.
you grow up with your dad, whether it's just you and your dad or, the dad's in the house, depending on the household, of course, it's like, okay, now you raise them to be tough and this and that and that. And it's like, both of them should be there. I think that you can raise children. I mean, I have been a single mom for a while, you know what I mean? So it's like, yes, I do think that you can raise children in a single family household. I don't think it was designed that way. I think having both structurally sound people creating children and then passing down and being able to be observed, and a child learning cues and things like that is how it should be. Uh, and even with that, with boys staying with the single mom and stuff like that, it also can raise them to be the opposite. It's like you can raise someone who's super irate, super aggressive, super upset because he's trying so hard to fight against the stigma of, oh, it's just you and your mama, you a mama's boy, you a this, you a that. You know what I mean? So it's, I feel like I have so much to say, but I want us to keep like some type of structure because I feel like every little thing is like a rabbit hole. Of, like we could just make an episode completely out of like
that particular,
just that. Yeah.
right.
But I'm gonna stop and allow you to keep going.
Um, I mean, like I said, we're just touching on whatever we touch on. So,
Yeah.
um, um, parents at home, I think I'm still stuck there.
Yeah.
Uh, um, I will say like teaching or avoiding emotional language. Like boys kind of often lack the vocabulary to kind of express themselves because no one taught them like certain words but to feel or know what they're feeling because they don't know what the words mean, like disappointment, shame, grief, anxiety. Like they heard that on like deer in headlights. They don't know what that means. That they don't
Mm-hmm.
understand what it is because that was never taught that. But parents
Mm-hmm.
who talk about their emotions like openly will help them develop the
Yeah.
emotional intelligence early. And it is a key skill for people, for children, boys and particularly boys specifically, to grow up and develop better relationships and resilience and leadership. So, instead of asking things like, what's wrong? Try like asking like, can you tell me what you're feeling right now? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And trying to get what that is, you're
Yeah.
able to go and assist them in the way that they need versus just, so what's wrong? Tell me
Yeah.
what's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Tell me, like, it sounds more aggressive instead of trying to like help them process the way that they feel.
Yeah. Oh man, again, I feel like I can't just go on and on tangents because it's like, okay, like I feel like a lot of parents, I feel like there are parents out there who love their children, who are doing the best that they can and doing what they know and things like that. And of course, if you know better, you do better, or you look back on, you raising your child and you're like, man, I wish I had did this. I wish I knew
Hmm.
this then and things like that. And so I don't want people to hear like what we're saying and like kind of beat themselves up for it or anything like that. It's never too
Not at
late.
all. Right.
It's literally never too late. Like, I'm 34, and if my dad was alive right now and he came to me dropping some whatever, I'm like, yeah, like I need this. You'll need these gems. You'll need all of the support and guidance throughout your entire life. So it's never too late to have that conversation, and don't feel bad about the things that you may feel like you're lacking. Um, we learn something new every day. We don't have a manual for life. We don't have a how-to book. We all just spawned here
That's
against our will.
man. I say that all the time.
So,
I'm like, it ain't no instruction book with life.
it's
Like
not.
you got to live it to figure it out yourself, or what I'm saying,
Exactly.
have somebody kind of teach you what they learned through their
Yep.
experiences. So
Yep.
we go.
Exactly. So, I would say just try to do your best. You listening to this podcast because you clicked on the, and saw the title or whatever. And, that shows that you're willing to grow and to learn and to get better. Maybe you have kids already. Maybe you don't. And you're like, look, I want to learn all that I can beforehand. Just know the adults that are walking around today are a result of their upbringing. So it's very important what happens in the home. Um, Everybody will go through something. We can't protect our children from
From
everything.
everything. Hmm.
We just can't as much as we want to, but we can set them up with a really good foundation. And I feel when you were talking about, I might be going back, but when you were talking about like boys not knowing the language of like what to say and what this is and what that is, it is very unfortunate. Not saying that girls know it, but girls are allowed to be confused in their emotions. Girls are
Hmm.
allowed to cry. Sometimes you cry because you're confused, and sometimes boys cry because they're people just cry because they are confused. I don't know what the hell I'm feeling. It just does not feel good,
And
and
I need a way to let it out.
I need to let it out. I hope that it doesn't come back, but maybe because I don't know what's going on, it will come back.
Hmm.
And so I I don't like. I was about to say I hate. I do hate it, but I want to try to stop using the word hate so much. But I do not like how girls are allowed to express and feel, and boys aren't, or they can do that crying shit with your mama. We ain't doing that over here. Wipe your eyes. Do this. Keep going. And it's like I understand that you mean well, but it's not making them well. It's just not. It's just teaching them how to suppress. I have to suppress. And there is a place for that in life, but you also need to learn the opposite of that. It's like sit, feel, reset, and then go. And so I would love to see that change. And I, like I said, I'm starting to see some of this trending, like even with my brother and his kids, and you know, the people that are close to me, they're awesome fathers and mothers, you know what I mean? And I see them changing the way that the households look, but I wish that I could have like I wish I had a time machine, and I could go back and like just drop some wisdom in all these other households for sure. Because it's very unfortunate what
It is.
has happened to boys and the result of that, men that we see walking around today. So
Right. And the men end up becoming fathers and teaching the same thing that
the
they,
same thing.
and it's
Yep.
a revolving door, you know?
Yep.
So whether they understand it or not, the presence or the absence of a father or a male role model deeply influences how boys understand not just masculinity but emotions, you know. So having like a warm emotional present father, it will teach you that strength and softness can coexist. Like, you know, he'll be hard when you need to be hard, but at the same
Right.
time, I'm gonna be like, I'm also understanding, I'm also gonna coddle you when I need to coddle you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you get a distant or like an angry or emotional shutdown father, like he's going to teach you that emotions equals weakness,
Right.
and that's the beginning of shaping someone in the wrong direction without not knowing how to deal with your mental health but also your emotions. So, you know, mothers also play a key role in that too. You know what I'm saying? So they carry the emotional load of things. Now, fathers they influence, but the mothers do too. So
Right.
it's a double whammy. You know what I'm saying? But their
Yeah.
response to the child, because it can be a girl or a boy,
Right.
their response to a child could either be validating or it could be to shame them, and that is just as heavy as a father figure in your life. So
Yeah.
it's home is the foundation. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
make sure home is what it is. But that's what I feel like the role parents play in the emotional world for a boy. But even with that being said, how did your parents?
Go ahead,
I
ask the
want.
question. I can answer it. I can
Okay,
answer
okay.
it.
Especially your father talk to you about emotions, or you know, did they do that at all?
That's a great question. So as I as I mentioned before, I wasn't raised by my mother or my father, but I have had conversations with both of them.
Right.
Um my father, I'm realizing that I'm a lot like him in this episode. as,
Already.
as I'm thinking, because you know how my brain works. Like I'm here and I'm present, but I have ADHD and other stuff. So it's like my
Other
brain.
stuff is crazy.
I do all the letters. I got them. Okay,
Sheesh.
except for STD. All right, got none of them. But don't
Shout
raise
out
your
to you.
eyebrow.
Hey,
Oh,
hey.
oh, okay.
I
Hold
didn't
on
even
now.
say nothing.
Hold
Like
on.
that's crazy
Okay.
work.
Oh, yeah, that is crazy work. All right. But yeah. So my brain has been thinking, and I'm like, as you asked me that question, I'm like, you know what? I kind of am a lot like my father because he was very. I remember talking to my dad on the phone one time, and I was like, "Hey, have you ever watched The Land Before Time?" He was like, "I don't do that. I don't play that. That's not real. Dinosaurs ain't real. Dinosaurs can't talk." And I was like, "Okay, you're no nonsense." Like he was like, "I only deal with the real," and I'm like, "All right." And I'm a lot like him, not just because of that conversation, but other ones. He was very, "What's reality? What's real? What's the truth? What is it?" You know what I mean? And I act like that now. I'm like, look, I ain't got time to lie. I ain't got to. I'm just about to be straight up with you. Hey, I'm feeling this. Hey, I'm not. This is take it or leave it. It's the truth, and I can appreciate that. With my mom, she was more. I'm gonna tell you what will make you feel good. And while I appreciate that, it's like looking back on it, it's like, sometimes I wish you were a little bit more honest there, because I would have known how to deal with that, knowing that this was never going to happen or this was never going to come, or I really did suck at this thing or that thing. You know what I mean? So for me, I would say I didn't really have a good balance of it, but I kind of leaned more to, as a child, more of the make believe is what I like to call it now, like the make believe side of things, like with my mom. And then as an adult, like literally once I hit 18, oh no, I'll say 20. Once I hit 20, then it just kind of leaned more towards like how my dad kind of shaped me, with it's just like, just be as blunt, as real as whatever. Like nobody can ever fight you on the truth. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, bet. I'm just gonna be real. And that's just, it is what it is. And I like that better. So I wish that I had more from them, like, but again, I wasn't raised by them. But I didn't want to, I didn't want to talk about like mother figure, father figures. I wanted to talk about the actual mother and father that I'd had. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right.
So that's my experience with that. And hopefully I answered your question fully. I just don't have much experience with either parent, but you know, I would love to hear your answer.
As I asked the question to you, I realized that my parents never talked about emotions. I never seen them have any other emotions besides anger.
Mm.
And that was due to being intoxicated, you know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
during that time, you know, they say, you know, a drunk mouth tell the truth or something to that degree.
That is not true.
I don't know. Hey, we tell my mama what she said after she said it. She's like, "Well, I meant it," and you know, it was never a time where she was like, "I didn't mean it." You know what I'm saying? But
Okay.
it's more so like I never seen my parents cry. I never seen them other than like smile and be happy and try to tell, you know what I'm saying, nothing but good things
Mm-hmm.
or spread good things. But they never talked to me about emotions. They never told me to do anything other than stop crying when I was whooping my ass. But besides that, I mean, they never gave me like insight on how I was supposed to maneuver emotionally
Mm-hmm.
through school, home, or anything to that degree. And I don't know if any household ever does that. I think that is something new. I think that is something.
Oh, okay. I'll say this household does. I definitely do. Me and Poppy, shout out to you, Poppy. We
Uh,
talk about emotions all the time. But no,
right.
I get what you're saying. It
I
is
think
something
it's
new for sure.
because I mean, there's never been. I think social media has a lot to do with that as well because you kind of see, and I'm probably skipping things ahead anyway, but I think it has a lot to do with that because you're allowed to see other people and how they deal with things and what they say and what they go through and their experiences and stuff to that degree. So, you know, it's like, you know what? Maybe we should implement this. Maybe we should try this. Maybe we should do this, which is fine. But is that something that you always felt, or is that something like, oh, I like the way they're handling it, so I'm gonna do that, or was you brought up that way? It's so many things that goes into that. You know what I'm saying? But social media definitely has played this part in that. But to answer the question, my parents didn't talk about emotions. That shit was out.
And I can circle back. And I also have something else to say. Hopefully I remember it.
Go
Oh
ahead.
my God. But I will circle back corporate. And just say that was my roundabout way of saying that's how they basically taught me how to handle emotions. No, they didn't specifically sit me down and talk to me about emotions, but my mom with like emotional stuff is just more like, again, like just tell you what you need to hear kind of thing. Like it wasn't really
So let me ask you something. Was it like an unspoken rule? Was it something like this is what you can feel, or this is what you couldn't feel?
no, it wasn't like that. It's just whatever I was feeling. I think she just wanted I don't know. I just think she wanted me to shut up. I think she wanted me to be quiet. So it's like, let me just tell her whatever so she can shut the fuck up. You
That's
know what I'm
tough.
saying? Because I have questions. I always have questions, and so it's like, well, I thought you said this, or you said, and I don't know, and this happened, and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm saying stuff that is making me emotional, or I'm angry, or whatever. And it was just like, okay, yeah, it was going to happen. Like, you know what I mean? So that was that. And then my dad, it was like, more so, I would say the unspoken spoken with him was like, I love you. That emotion, that feeling we can have, like love we can have. But everything else, like, that's not really real, and that's not what matters. That's basically what I got from him. It's just like straight to the point. This is what it is, and that's it. And you can process the truth better than you can process emotions. The truth, you got to take it regardless. Emotions, you have power over your emotions. You don't have power over the truth. The truth is the truth, with or without you. You know
Right.
what I mean? And so I kind of got that from my dad. And so I grew up, as you can imagine, emotionally dysregulated. So, and I have brothers, and I'm pretty sure that they also, grew up the same. Like, they were some angry ass motherfuckers. I do
Huh.
know that. So, and I don't know, I can't speak on what their experience of our household was, for them as boys. Um, I would love to do another episode and maybe have them on here, one of them or something. Maybe have Steve come back, on the show and kind of talk about it. But no, I didn't have, not we, I didn't have any conversation about emotions or how you're supposed to feel and when and how to release, how to sit with it. I didn't have any of that from my mother or my father. I didn't have that.
But your siblings did.
I don't know.
Okay.
My siblings have a different relationship with my mom than I do.
Right.
And I talked about that in a couple episodes,
Yeah.
back or whatever. But they probably did, My assumption is that they probably did, but I don't know that for sure.
That's fair. I don't think there was any like unspoken rules about what we could feel or what we couldn't feel, but there
Hmm.
were phrases when I think back to, like, you know what I'm saying, hey, man up, or boys don't cry, or stop all that crying. You know what I'm saying? That
Hmm.
I had I had three other brothers that live with me, and I had one
Hmm.
sister. So I'm always hearing that about my brothers, or myself. I wasn't hearing that from my sister, and I was like, okay, so this is the way, the path to man.
Yeah.
This is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to man up. As a boy, I'm
Right.
supposed to man up.
Hmm. It's crazy, right? I'm a boy.
I'm a boy, Damon. I'm supposed to man up.
And I got a man up. And if this is, I feel like if I was a boy, I'd be like, is this what a man is supposed to be? This feeling that I'm feeling is so big right now. I have to push it down and
Right,
just keep walking
right.
forward. Like, I don't want to be a man.
But
Shit.
them messages that we was told, they
Hmm.
stuck with us,
Yeah.
and it stick harder than people realize, because
Hmm.
now we regurgitate it to the next young that we see, because that's
Yep.
what we was taught. So it's more like, you know what I'm saying, with these messages that we was given as children, as boys, like, we was told to suppress our vulnerability.
Hmm.
Okay. So with that, it's like, now I got to learn it. And when I did learn it, I don't even, I don't remember who told me it's okay to be vulnerable. I don't know how I learned that it was okay, but I guess after so long, I just started seeing that it's okay. You know what I'm saying? To talk about, it's okay to feel about, it's okay to bring up about, like, there's so many things that introduced me into, like, you know what, I do have emotions, and it's okay to have emotions, but
Hmm.
I didn't know how. To this day,
To this day.
you feel me, I'm still trying to learn how to navigate through my emotions, because I cry alone. I cry in silence. I cry when nobody looking, and then there are still like tiny moments to where that door start to crack open for me to do it in front of somebody, and it's like, nope, nope, close it, close it.
Mm.
Don't you do it. This ain't the place for it. And it hurts more to keep it in than to let it out. And I understand
Right.
that now, but it's not something that was learned. It was not taught to me in that aspect, and it's tough. It's tough. So the question that I did have was like the messages of vulnerability. Who did you get that from, and how did you learn it?
I don't think I learned actual vulnerability until I was an adult. But when I look back on it, I feel like the people who had something to do with my upbringing were vulnerable in their own right, or as vulnerable as they could be. Uh and I don't think that they knew how to process them being vulnerable. I think a lot of times the vulnerability looked like anger. Because I am confused. I don't know what to do. I am stressed. I am worried, and it's like it's happening in front of these kids. And I know they're going to have questions. I know that they're going to need this. I know they're going to, and now I'm stressed about how I'm going to get this to or whatever. And it's like, well, now I'm just angry. And now I'm probably getting my ass beat more than I should because you angry about some shit,
Right.
But that was their what I look back and say that was their vulnerability. I didn't learn vulnerability until honestly, probably until like 2020 when I went to
I was about to
therapy.
say my 30s. That's when
Yeah.
like my 30s is when I learned it. So I understand that.
Yeah.
I understand it. Like I
Yeah.
never just focused in or keened in on like vulnerability. What do it mean? Not just
Yeah.
what do it mean, but what it means to me. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, we also, well, I'll say from my experience growing up Black, like you're just taught not to trust people. Like that's just how you talk. Like you don't trust this, you don't trust that. So why would I be vulnerable? The world's against me. People is against me. It's
yeah, but was you taught woman up? Did you ever hear that? Like, hey, act like a woman, be a woman.
no. So the thing, which is why I was letting you talk and I didn't really chime in because my experience of what you kind of experienced, or what you spoke on, like the whole man up thing. That's how I was raised. I was raised like that. I know. So I was raised like me and my brothers were raised the
What?
same. It wasn't like I know. It wasn't like she's a girl, she gets to cry more. It's like cut the fucking tears, get this shit done, do what I said. I ain't got time for feelings and this and that. It's none of that shit.
That's the next
Get
level.
this shit done. So in the way that a young man is brought up, I was brought well, in certain regard. I'm not trying to say I'm never trying to say I'm just like a young man or anything like that. But in what I experienced, there wasn't from the people who actually raised me, there wasn't any variation. Um, it wasn't really any variation there. It was just no tears, none of that. Do what I say, get it done, and go. And that's it. And so I wasn't allowed to like, oh, well, she's crying, let her cry, or she has her period, so it makes her more emotional. None of that. Hell no. Nope. You just get shit done. You just go. Cry about it later when you're not around me. I don't want to see that shit, is basically how I grew up. So I can relate when I hear young men say that or men say that because I'm like, I grew up the same way, but it's not my place to speak on that in that moment because that's not the common experience. And I don't want to take away from a man's experience when he's saying that by being like, me too. Like, okay, girl, we talking about us right now, So I try to be considerate and not share that often. But in my feedback that I have given to different like male friends that I've had, it comes from that place of like I understand. Now the thing is that I didn't have to grow up to be strong. Because it's like, oh, a man, I did grow up thinking like a man is a protector. I got that from like TV and movies, you know what I mean? So I didn't have to grow up with that aspect of it. So I can't relate to y'all because y'all have to be strong. And that's a guy is strong. He's a provider and he's strong. You know what I mean? Like that's, and he don't cry. He's not soft. He's not weak at all. I didn't necessarily have to lean into that growing up, but I did have to show the characteristics of that as a child. You know what I'm saying? I hope that's making sense.
It does make sense.
Okay. And I kind of want to, I need to go back because I need to get out my brain. There was a part that I was like, I know. But remember, I was like, oh, I hope I don't forget. I just remembered it 20
Right.
minutes later. Okay. So the part is where you said that I forgot how you worded it, but you were saying like, oh, we see this now more on social media. So I think this is why things are changing and things like that. I think, yes, I agree with you. We also, in my experience, seen it in other people's households as we were growing up.
Right.
And you're like, dang, over my cousin's house, they don't do this. Or my
friend's
friend's house,
house.
they don't do this, they don't do that. And it's like, well, that's their house. But here, you're going to blah, 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 blah. And I wonder if they did that from a place of embarrassment. Like, I'm embarrassed that people are actually like, oh, they're not just beating the shit out of their kids all the time. Or they're not just yelling at their kids. Wait, they're actually talking to their kids. Well, I'm embarrassed. So now it's just, fuck it. Like, I'm still just going to be angry. And it's like, well, that's over there. But in my house, you know what I'm saying? And so I feel like we did see it before, but we weren't allowed to, I don't say we weren't allowed. It's just we didn't get the opportunity to have that take place in our households. But yes, social media now, as we are adults and now we get to have the kids, we are consuming that and saying, you know what, from what I actually experienced, I don't want to experience that. And I don't want to pass that down. So what does all of this look like and how can I use that to shape my children's and my family's experience, the one that I'm creating or going to create? So that was that. All right. We can fast forward to where you are right now.
It's fine. I still want to
Okay.
kind of like, even with what I'm about to ask you, I can tell it into what I'm about to ask you.
Okay.
So even experiencing that at another relative house or another friend's house and feeling that overwhelming feeling or whatever situation is, did you see like your siblings or even yourself like responding differently when you were hurt or scared or even overwhelmed? Like, did each one of y'all have different responses when y'all felt that way?
So just make sure I understand the question. Did me and my siblings feel different when we felt hurt or overwhelmed? Did we
Hurt,
respond
scared,
differently?
overwhelmed? Yes, exactly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. For sure. Um I think unanimously we chose anger when we felt any of those. I was like that. We definitely is like, you know what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we grew up some very angry kids, but we were fun. But it was like, don't try me, you know, kind of thing.
Right.
That's just what we had. And it's not just solely because of parents in the household, it's the society that we grew up in as well. So it's a lot of factors that went into that. But yeah, we handled things differently where somebody was shut down, somebody, me, would be persistent and being like, no, because this isn't like, I don't care about shutting down. You know, I need to know this and this. We got to fix it. That's after the fighting, you know what I'm saying? Because we're gonna fight first, you know. Whether that's punching a wall, punching each other, punching somebody else, like it's just a lot of anger. And so we had that, but we processed it differently. Like I said, some of us would go off by ourselves. Some would cry, you know, and just be like, I'm crying because I'm angry. And it's like, yeah, but you also just crying because you're hurt. Like, you don't like this or you don't like that.
Right.
And it's okay,
That's
but you don't
okay.
know that it's okay. You know, so there's that. But yeah, we definitely all felt it differently for sure. For sure.
Yeah, I can say the same about my siblings. Like my two older brothers, they definitely chose violence, chose anger, they chose all the negative emotions
Yeah.
because we grew up in a two-parent home, but our our dad worked so much to where he was not present as a father, you know what I'm saying? So he had a lot of the providing role placed on him, which was understandable. Go to work, you know what I'm saying, do that thing. I told you recently, I just had a whole epiphany about that. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? But having that role placed on him didn't really have room for him to kind of like teach us the emotional or mental side of things.
Yeah.
So it was more so like we internalized a lot of it. And once it came out aggressive for them and angry. And my oldest brother is a fighter to this day.
Yeah.
Fighter. He's a professional boxer. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And my second oldest, he's a fighter as well. You know what I'm saying? But since I was the middle child, I kind of got not only my parents, but I had my grandparents. I was the only one that went out to East Texas to get another set of parenting from a
Mm-hmm.
different household. And it was it was beautiful there. And it wasn't no yelling. There wasn't no, but I was only there, what I'm saying, summer and winters. What I'm saying? So going back and forth every summer and winter to two different
Mm-hmm.
households, I got two different teachings, and I end up knowing sometimes it's okay to internalize it, but well, actually, most of the time it's okay to internalize it, but it really wasn't. And then sometimes it's okay to talk about it, which when I was in East
Right.
Texas. So it was okay to talk about it with my grandparents, but with my parents, we don't got time for you. We got other kids that we need to worry about. We need to talk about this.
Right.
We need to deal with that. We need to deal with that. And it was like, okay, well, I'll just wait. So with my sister, she kind of went the rebellious, angry route, and she was emotional as well. And my little brother, he took the emotional route in the beginning, but then he became angry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think overall, I guess we all chose anger, except me.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
My question is, when with your question, are you saying what you experienced from them in front of your parents, or what you experienced when your parents weren't around?
This is my experience with my siblings being brought up in that household. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm saying, were your parents around
Oh
when
yeah.
they were angry, or when they
Whether
were
that was around,
okay? So,
yeah, whether that was around or not, like they still act the same. Like they
oh,
didn't.
okay,
They were the same on and off camera. You know what I'm saying? So it didn't matter
okay,
if that was being seen or not. That's how it was because
mm,
we was just told to go to school, do our homework, come home, do our chores, go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like
okay,
we had moments to where we'll sit around in my mom's bed. We all sit Indian style, and we'll read the Bible. And after reading the Bible, she'll try to make sure we're paying attention by asking three
mm-hmm,
questions, and whoever get them questions right, they end up getting some type of reward. So we did have
mm-hmm,
moments to where we tried to connect on a spiritual level, but after a while, we stopped doing that because we end up growing up to where all our asses can't sit in that bed. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's like, hey, go find something else to do. And I think we're all 7, 8 years apart. My
okay,
oldest brother is 8 years older than my youngest brother, so
okay,
we're all within, what I'm saying, a reasonable age
yeah,
gap. So what I'm saying, all five of us being brought up in the same household, we we kind of actually they all kind of chose the same route to go emotionally when they was responding to how they felt hurt, scared, or overwhelmed. But
mm-hmm,
being that I had that secondary home, like
mm-hmm,
I'm the only one that chose something different. So that's why I feel like
mm,
I always got to connect my brothers and sisters because
yeah,
it's tough. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
yeah,
It's tough. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, yeah, it was just how did your siblings respond to
okay.
hurt,
Well,
scared, and overwhelmed?
to to clarify, we weren't allowed to, like I said, we didn't. It was just like, hey, do this, get that done. Like, you know what I mean? And however you felt about it, you had to do that in private. So they never got to experience our caregivers never experienced the anger, the this, the crying, the that. They never experienced that. All of what I'm saying has happened just between me and my siblings, or you catch somebody in their moment of like solitude, and you see like they're in the corner crying, or you can hear them like talking shit in the bathroom to themselves, you know what I'm saying, like, I hate this shit, you know what I'm saying, something like that. But
No,
being able to
it was,
express
yeah,
that
definitely
in front
moments
of the
like that.
parents,
Yeah, it was definitely moments like
yeah,
that. But as we got older, we I seen them become more bolder by telling my parents, you know what I'm saying, how they felt about certain things. Because once my oldest brother got to the point to where he could cuss in front of my mom, that became a conditional stimulant for the younger ones to be like, oh, maybe I can cuss in front of my mama too. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I can cuss in front of daddy too. And then they got punished for it because they wasn't the adult like my
right.
oldest one was. But that continued to
Mm,
fuel the rage that they had.
mm,
And
okay.
it didn't matter if they loved them or not, because I know that they love them. They still had some point where they resented, you know what I'm saying, feeling
Yeah.
whatever feelings that they felt during that time. So,
Okay. Okay.
but even with that, I think we all were a product of our time, you know,
Mm-hmm.
whether you grew up in the 70s, the 90s, the 2000s, the cultural climate, it mattered. So, with that being said, what was the cultural script for being a woman or a young lady when you were growing up? And I will tell you how the cultural climate was or script when it was for me as a man. Actually, I can go first if you want me to, because
Sure. Whatever you
I
want.
feel
Go
like
ahead.
I asked you the question and then you just go into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Um, During that time, I think it was super complicated. Being a boy or being a man in the 2000s, because I was born in the 90s, but I didn't really become really conscious of mine until the 2000s. So it was a blend of, like, what I'm saying, old expectations, and it was like some new packaging that was coming with it too. So while there was like a lot of growing up conversations around like vulnerability, um, with the older folks, not the young ones, and what I'm saying, there was like the lack of emotional intelligence. The dominant narrative that was like still heavily shaped was traditional masculinity. You know what I'm saying? So what I mean by that is, like, we was always told to suck it up, man up, don't be soft. You know what I'm saying? It was more of a physical toughness and a roughness. Not only with that, but also with our emotions too. It was expected during that time. Crying wasn't often seen um, as like soft and okay. It was more seen like weak and useless, and it was something that was only praised when it came to anger or a loss in sports. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't seen as in like, hey, these are daily emotions that a kid experience. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
vulnerability wasn't really a model of the pop culture during that time. So if a man opened up emotionally, it was often rare, and it was in a dramatic moment. It wasn't a norm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what else? The climate, the media. Oh, social media. The media kind of reinforced the idea of like alpha male. You hear me? I'm sorry, I did back away a little bit.
Yeah. No, I
Okay.
hear you. Yeah.
Like the TVs and the movies, they kind of glorified the stoic action hero. You know what I'm saying? Um, or the cocky player, or like the emotional, unavailable but super cool guy. You know what I'm saying? Like Jason Bourne or Tony Stark with Iron Man, or even like some sitcom dads that was like super emotionally distant, but they was funny. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile,
Mm-hmm.
the emotional male characters, they was the emotional role characters that was only like sidekicks, or that was like
Mm-hmm.
nerds, or like comic relief or some to that degree, or that was just labeled as sensitive, and it was
Mm-hmm.
rarely the main character or the main hero
Mm-hmm.
inside of these shows. So I feel like that's how media kind of portrayed that. And then we went into peer pressure around that time. A lot of peer pressure happened. It was consistent. Sports equal status. Expressing like the deep emotions that equal like social risk. You didn't want people to know. Being called, for the lack of a better word, during this time, being called like gay or a girl was like a go-to insult because it weaponized femininity and the queerness to the police of other boys. Like it was crazy, especially if you was in a relationship because you go with so and so, you're whipped. Like I'm whipped. What you mean I'm whipped? I like the girl. You know what I'm saying? Or they'll be like, you don't want to do that? Don't be a bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, whoa there, pal. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Whoa there.
Or you know what I'm saying? And then at the very least, like, man, stop acting like a little girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, we always got that. That was to them. They were just insults, but they were more than just insults. They were like corrections and a reminder to stay in line with the masculinity script of how you're supposed to be as a boy. And then, finally you kind of handle things alone. Like you hide it, you mask it, or you do humor or you get mad or whatever the situation is. And then you turn to like video games, because that's what I did. Gamer to this day. Or you'll turn to
to this day.
or you'll turn to like weed or you know what I'm saying, some other drug, or you'll isolate yourself. And
Yeah.
at the climate that we are in now, I realize that hey, therapy is not a bad idea. Shut up, Ash. I feel like therapy is not a bad
Damn.
idea, and it still seems like it's something that serious people need when they're trying to tap into who they are themselves. Or
Yeah.
people feel like if you ask for therapy, you're weak. You're not weak. You know, you're not weak at all.
Agreed.
So and in closing with this particular thing, because I feel like
You're good. You're
like
good.
it's basically saying during that time of the 2000s, like kind of be strong, don't be soft, be funny, don't be vulnerable, um, be dominant, don't be emotional, and if you're struggling, deal with it yourself.
That sucks. That sucks.
But that was Dallas climate. What was Cleveland climate like?
Shit for boys, what you described.
Really?
I mean, it was a lot of
Was
that.
it?
I don't know if my answer is going to be as polished as yours was. I feel like you have a great way of like keeping track of what you want to say. But mine is just like as it comes to me. This is just what I'm thinking about. So
It's just coming out of me.
the did you say the culture or the climate? Like,
It's the same thing.
okay. I just wanted to make sure I was citing the right word. But
I did say what was the cultural script for
yeah, okay.
being, well, for me, for being a man when I was growing up during that time. So for you, it would be a woman.
So I will start off by saying that maybe most girls' experience is not my experience, and so I'm speaking for myself. Just because, like I mentioned earlier in this episode, I was kind of raised a little bit differently. I wasn't really like feel your emotions. It's okay to cry, things like that. But what I did experience, though, just in the world in general, no specific place, but in the world in general, it was.
That's right.
First things first is don't be fast. Okay. Not necessarily talking to you about your body and your feelings and what's going to happen. It's just more so like, don't be fast. You don't even know what that means until you start feeling tingle and you're like, oh, is this what they're talking
Come
about?
on,
I can't
somebody.
really go talk to them about it because, you know what I'm saying? Who am I talk to about this? Because they telling me all types of shit. I mean, parents say all types of shit to their kids, about like, if you do this, you're going to hell, or your private part's going to fall off, or this, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
You say all these things to try to warn them about having sex. You probably mean well, but anyway, that's how it was. It was like, don't be fast. And on the same hand, that's from the adults, right? Don't be fast. Then from people my age, my peers, it's like, well, be fast, but don't be too fast. Like, don't be a hoe, but be fast enough to catch somebody's eye and attention. Because if you're not fast, you're going to get overlooked. And so it's like, okay, well, I don't want to get overlooked. I want a little boyfriend. I want a little something, something, something. You know what I'm saying? So you got to put yourself out there some kind of way. And I'm not saying I did these things. I'm just saying this was a part of the script. What I did experience though is even though I had strength, I had to act like I didn't because I would get called a boy. I got called a boy a lot. Like, you're a boy. Like, you act too much like a boy. Like, and then what hurt my feelings is I'm like, I'm a girl. I want to play football. I want to do rough stuff. I want to dress this way. I want to act this way, but I am still a girl. Like, girl doesn't come in one font. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, girl looks different. I remember my grandma used to be like, um, when we be outside, like I had to sit on the porch, but my brothers would be able to go out and play street football, stuff like that. Now, grandma, if you're watching this, when she went to sleep, when she left, I'm outside, I'm playing football, I'm playing basketball, like I'm doing all the things at school, like whatever, I'm doing all the things because I want to do that, but it's not ladylike. And that's something that was pushed on girls, like be ladylike, which is very like soft and reserved and poised and controlled and emotional. And I didn't really identify with a lot of that. I didn't even know how to process my emotions. And when I did cry, I would suck that up real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't cry. You know what I mean? Like I just gotta keep going. And so I feel like that was the big thing. As well as whatever problems you're having in life when you grow up, there's gonna be a man to come and save you. This man is gonna save you. And that's from all the Disney fairy tales. It's like you're gonna grow up and it's gonna be Prince Charming. No work do you need to do on your own. It's gonna be Prince Charming to come and save you.
Right.
And that sucks because that taught me to be, or that teaches young girls to be dependent on outside sources, and it doesn't really teach them to do the work. And so we have what we have now today where like the men and women keep clashing. It's like men don't know how to express themselves and women don't know how to do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like it creates this clash. But I would say those were the main things for me. Not speaking out of turn, like women not really, or girls not really having a voice. Like the boys kind of dictate what happens and what goes. And if you challenge that, then I've gotten into many, many fights with boys because it's like, I don't care that you said this and that. I'm not doing it, or I don't want to. And it's like, now you can't get punked by a girl. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So now you got to defend your manhood or boyhood or whatever the hell. Like, it's a whole bunch of just foolishness of like trying to make sure that these pieces, although they are different shapes, fit into these boxes. And for boys and girls, it's just ridiculous because at the end of the day, we are all humans and each human is different. Yes, we have some things that are similar. Like if you're more than likely, if you're born a girl, you'll have a menstrual cycle, you have a uterus, you'll develop breasts, things like that. If you're born a boy, you'll have a penis and things like yes, there are some things that this is strictly boy, this is strictly girl. But for the most part, we are humans at the end of the day. And you're a makeup of your parents and their parents' parents and parents, you know what I'm saying? And it's just so, growing up was just so boxy. I just didn't like that. Like I was unhappy a lot. I had to wear dresses because boys wear pants. The boys used to wear the uniform tie. I had to wear bow tie. I hate bow ties. I wanted to wear the tie. You know what I'm saying? Like I wanted to wear, I don't want to wear like like heels and things like that, like with the school uniforms
A
and stuff.
skirt
I
and
want to
all of
wear Air Force Ones. You know what I'm saying? So, but I couldn't do that because it's not for the girls. And it's just really like a soft, dainty, quiet, but it's okay to cry. But everything else outside of that, now you're too masculine or you're a tomboy, and it's not looked at in a positive way. It was just like derogatory. So that was, I would say, from what I experienced from you first answering that question, I mean, asking that question, that's what first came to mind for me.
So do you feel like religion or school or media kind of help drive that? Or let me
Um,
let me let me let me reword it. Did media, school, or religion like reinforce certain ideas about like toughness or stoicism?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I said, like the Disney movies and stuff like that, like the men are the strong ones, the women are locked away in a tower with a dragon.
Right.
You know what I'm
And
saying? She just sitting
that's kind
there,
of what I was
you
saying,
know?
like the TV shows and movies that we were saying,
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, that's they put that on us heavy. They put that on us
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah. It is definitely the woman is the homemaker. She's this. And that's another thing too. Like women weren't encouraged to or little girls aren't encouraged to aspire to be a police officer or a firefighter or this or that. It's like that's the boy stuff. You know what I mean? Like you're inspired to do more homemakey, soft, feminine things, which again is pretty crazy. But then you see it on TV. You watch these shows and the woman she's a nurse or she's a homemaker. The guy, he does whatever he does, she's taking care of the kids and she's doing that. And it's like, okay, so as a girl, I'm supposed to grow up and do this. And then when you realize as you become a preteen or a teen, young adult, I should say, like, oh wait, the world doesn't work like that. Was this the adults' fantasy? Was this their fantasy that they wished life was like this? Because they aren't even living like this. So
Exactly.
who decided this shit? You know what I'm saying? And we just keep repeating it and pushing it down, even to this day. I mean, they're still doing it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that it's bad because for what I grew up in and what I experienced, I needed that escape from reality. The downfall of that is that I thought that that stuff was true reality. I was a child. My brain isn't even fully developed yet. You know what I'm saying? As far as religion, I will say that for my experience as a child, religion didn't have much of a big impact on like pushing that for me. But as I grew up, as I was a young adult, I see how it affected my peers growing up and then how it shaped me as a young adult, being in some pretty toxic church environments, which reinforced that like the woman is silent, the man has to say, the man has the power, the woman just sits there, you cook, you this, you that, you listen to what he says, you marry him, and that's kind of that thing,
Yeah,
which
like gender roles almost.
yeah, yeah. um yeah, so
So,
yeah.
what do you think are good ways to unlearn the things that harmed us?
I would say to start with yourself, right? So,
Right.
what I did is I looked at all the areas where I felt unhappy in my life. And through going to therapy, I won't say that I learned this on my own, but I did survey myself to see where I was unhappy. And then I went to therapy and we kind of worked backwards like, okay, well, why are you unhappy about this? All right. When did you start feeling unhappy about this? Some of the questions that you're asking now, like who taught you that? Do you think that this has something to do with that? Do you think that has something to do with that? And just work all the way backwards so you see, like, oh, well, I've been doing this because my mama said that's what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
Or I always seen my auntie do this. Or shit, I ain't seen nobody doing it. Shit, I just picked something. I saw something on TV one day and I just picked it and ran with it. You know what I mean? Um, so look at areas in your own life where you may be unhappy. Work backwards. If you got to do it by yourself, then do it. There's a lot of free resources out here. You can talk to people, talk to friends, trusted people that you know, things like that. If you can afford it, I definitely always suggest therapy or life coaching to kind of help you with some of that. And then after you have done the work or started to do the work with yourself, then encourage it within your community. The more we talk about things, the more exposure it gets and the more we're able to change it, which to your point earlier, yeah, you see a lot of it on social media now because now we are more open to talking about these things and saying, you know what, I messed up. Or I thought this was this, and guess what I just learned today?
Right.
It's not that.
Right.
And so now whether people want to learn it or not, you know, they're seeing different life experiences being played out that they probably didn't know were possible. So start with yourself, survey yourself, start doing some work within yourself, start sharing that, start talking to people about it, start looking up certain things, and I would just say continue to be open because you don't know what you don't know. And listening to podcasts, things like that, somebody will probably listen to this and see your experience or my experience and be like, oh shit. So I can do this, I can do that. Oh, okay, cool. But that's why that's why I think it starts. Um, I'm sure there's other steps after that, but I feel like that's a good starting point is with yourself. I know we probably want to fix the world.
Fixture.
I want to fix the world kind of
Mhm.
person, That's definitely me, but it really starts with fixing yourself too. Like you got to put your mask on like on a plane. You got to put your mask on first and then help others. So,
I would say unlearning things that harmed us, especially like the messages that we was getting as kids, like man up, grow up, whatever the situation might be,
mhm,
from our childhood culture that we absorbed, that we also regurgitate into today's culture is probably one of the hardest and most important steps of like healing. Okay.
mhm,
It's not about really forgetting the past, but about recognizing it, how it still lives inside of us, honestly, and choosing to respond differently. So I think to start with that process, we need to name what hurt us, what hurt you.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So you can't change what you can't see, right?
Right.
So you got to start identifying like the beliefs, the behaviors, the emotional patterns that are still like
Mhm,
shaping our lives today. Like, where's you talk that crying is a weakness. Okay.
mhm,
Um, would you taught that asking for help makes you less of a man? Okay. Let's also ask, that the value comes from productivity or control. Like, often these ideas are kind of like to your ear and to mine, they kind of sound harmful until you trace them about
mhm.
where they came from. And that's what
Yeah.
they cost you. They cost you hurt. They cost you pain. So
Yeah.
now you got to understand where it came from. Was it from your dad, who was like emotionally distant because he never
Mhm,
had somebody to believe him, or they gave him a chance, or they never gave him a permission to feel? So guess what? He's going to put that
mhm,
on you. Or did it come from your mom, who kind of carried the unhealed trauma that she went through, and she absorbed her
mhm,
anxiety and made it silent?
mhm,
Because that doesn't excuse a reason to harm somebody, but it gives you context. You know what I'm saying? And
mhm.
sometimes understanding the source is easier to put that burden down. And we carry that burden a lot.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whether it's you or whether it's me or it's you that's listening to us right now. Um, so what you learned wasn't always love. Okay. Sometimes it was survival. And that's what they were going through. They was going through survival.
Facts.
It's
Big facts.
the
Big facts.
So now we got to challenge that internal voice that we have, y'all. Let's do that. We all got this inner voice that kind of shapes us in our earlier experiences, and when we feel like something is wrong, or it's getting critical, or it's a shame or a doubt, you know what I'm saying? We have to make sure that we're speaking up to be like, hey, like I don't know if this is the right feeling I'm supposed to have right now, but this is how I feel. And you want to talk to
Mhm.
somebody that you can trust. You can't just go to anybody, because people out here looking for your downfall. Okay.
That is true. That is true. But just I I don't want people to hear that and be like, because sometimes you don't know that you can trust a person until you give them an opportunity
But
to
what
show
what
that they're
what did they
trustworthy.
exactly? But what did they do in order for you to approach them to feel like you could trust them? My coworker that's
I
like right
mean, we
next to me, they come to work and go home. Come to work, go home. I feel some type of way. I need to let it out. Guess what? I'm for to talk to my coworker. They ain't done nothing but come to work and go home. Should I trust?
yeah.
So trust them.
I would say so because you that's how we get the conversation going, right? Now, I know the flip side of that is that if you open up to the wrong people, then your business get this and that and that and that. So I do understand that. So yes, look at people's characteristics and stuff like that if you can. But sometimes, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, you've done it too. Like you can talk to a stranger more than you could talk to the people that you know, because talking to the people that you know about something, depending on who you're talking to, you feel like you might feel some type of judgment or shame or something like that. So it's easier to talk to a stranger. I'm on the subway, somebody talking about their life, I'm about to talk about mine too, and now look, I done got some clarity, I done got some type of revelation from that, and I don't never have to worry about seeing this person ever again. Coworker may be a little bit different. If you do want to open up to them, kind of look at how they go about their day-to-day life to see if that's somebody that you should. But I don't want you to be too, I don't want people to be too closed off on waiting for the perfect moment to say something, because that does mean that you're holding on to it longer, or you're kind of delaying your healing or delaying what you could be doing. Sometimes it's just worth the risk to just open up and just talk. Just talk. You and your homeboys together, you know what I'm saying? Just talk. Just start saying something. And if you see that they like kind of shutting it down or laughing it off or whatever, okay, well then that's not who you need to talk to. Now you learn that you can't trust that person with that level of conversation just yet. You know, maybe they might still be stuck in the mindset of that whole toxic masculinity thing where it's like, hey, nigga, shut that down. We don't talk about that, man. Hey, just if you don't get your money in, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. But just try to be open as much as you can. That's my opinion. That's not to say like I disagree with you. I do agree with you, but I
Uh,
would like for us to experiment with being more open if we
yeah,
can.
being more open ain't the problem. It's more so about who you're being open with. You know what I'm saying?
But that's what I'm saying. Just be more open minded to being open with more people. Maybe somebody that you didn't even think that you could be open with. Like, just try it. Give little pieces of, you ain't got to start off like at the age of 6 hours. You ain't gotta maybe you don't gotta start like
Right.
that, but maybe you can start with something like, yo, man, I'm having a really bad
And
day
and
about whatever.
right,
Go from
but
there.
I'm a touch on something that you said outside of podcasts because I
Okay.
felt like it was definitely a nugget and I held on to it.
Okay.
Another way for us to unlearn things, and this is kind of like dropping it in there as well, is that you want to surround yourself with better mirrors. And what I mean by that is by people who don't reflect that old script, but somebody who is somebody you want to.
Uh,
Uh,
I know what you're
okay,
talking about.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? So if you only
Yeah.
surround yourself with people who like mimics the old script, that means who mocks your emotions, they dodge hard conversations, or they doing things that you don't approve of, or somebody that they're close to don't approve of, or they reward suppression. Like it's hard to grow. You know what I'm saying? So you want to seek out people and you want to seek out places that offers like role models who shows it in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Men who
Yeah.
are kind, who are honest, and they not performatively tough. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you don't
Yep.
want to do that. Like communities that value mental health, softness, and the
Yeah.
truth. And you also want to talk to like people you call on, not just people who call you out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
That's so good. Because what you're saying right now is going into what I was trying to say, but just didn't
yeah,
articulate it well.
right. And
It
I sat with it.
you're
Yeah,
doing
I
it.
sat with it. So my whole concept of when you told me that was this quote right here that I told myself. I said sometimes healing means outgrowing the environments that wounded you. So you know what I'm saying I'm thinking that maybe sometimes I still piggyback to the environments or the familiarity with things and be like,
Oh
oh, it's
yeah.
okay, it's cool, but maybe I've outgrown it. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
I need to outgrow. Look, I'm learning. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I listen. We both are. We are both learning. I listen. I applaud you for that. Even saying that, like, and that's what you just said. Went with what I was saying. Like, take that risk and like just ex- expand who you trust and things like that. Because I know you hate absolutes, but I feel like every time
every time
it should be with it should be like every time you open up or trying to grow, whatever, it should be with somebody that's outside of
the
your
norm.
circle, unless you see that person also heading in the same direction as you. You
That's
know what I
fair.
mean? Which most people are not. Most people that you have in your life right now, if you survey your life right now, like most people that are there, y'all have a lot in common. Y'all got a lot of common. And you don't want to stay where you are. So it's great that I have y'all here. This will help me get comfortable here. Understand it. It is time for me to go. And most times, if not all the time, you gotta leave most people, if not everyone, behind because it's your life. You're not living your life for the connections that you have, this person, that person. You're not. You're living your life for you and for the levels that you need to go to and the things that you need to get done, the mindsets that you need to
Right.
have. A lot of men, they their friend groups, like they all are the same person in different fonts. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you probably need to not try to seek counsel from this person who's always clowning this or clowning that or is on the same wavelength as you and you just woke
Right.
up. You know what I'm saying? You can't fault them. I wouldn't fault the people for not being what you need. They're not supposed to be. You're supposed to be elevating. So look for, oh, you know what? Even if it is a podcast, I love social media for this aspect. Even if it's a TikTok page that you follow and every Friday they dropping gems that's feeding your brain, eventually you're going to outgrow these people in this place and you're going to elevate and you're going to feel so good. You're going to feel so good. I encourage men to do that. There's a lot of good manly, I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but there's a lot of good growth mindset podcasts and things like that that are ran by men that I think I mean I know how you feel about it, but the eggs and grits one is a good one for me. I forgot his name. I know that's a good one. Willie Moore Jr. He has one, aka Pretty Willie. But he don't go by that no more. He has one. Like it's a couple people out here. That's just off the top of my head, but they have stuff that you can really go and see the experience of men specifically and men of color, you know, and like, oh, okay, this is what they do. This is how they do this. This is how they maneuver, do this. You know what? I did think that. So we can do this now. I didn't know that, you know, and grow from there. And you'll see that you'll outgrow your environment. Your environment should be ever changing, ever shifting. Like it just, that's my belief that it should. I know I'm going down a rabbit hole, but I'll stop.
No, you're good. You're good. Like changing the environments and unlearning things, they're all synonymous, pretty much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So unlearning something means replacing, not just erasing. So if you erase it,
yeah,
you got to replace it with something else. Just because I'm moving from
yeah,
this environment, I got to go to another environment, and it has to be able to be what I want it to be, and it can look like
yeah.
anything. So um,
Hmm.
even with the emotional side of it, if we're going to have feelings about certain things, we got to be able to know how to name that feeling that we have. We got to learn new
Hmm.
names for the feelings beyond just mad
Hmm.
or I'm fine. Like, let's get more intellectual, guys. Let's actually call it what it is. You know what I'm saying? You got to practice vulnerability and safe relationships. It's okay
Yeah,
to talk about your feelings in relationships. Or at least it should
it
be. And
is.
if it's not,
Yeah. I
that's if y'all
mean,
looking at this together. But if it's not, come on now. And sometimes going to therapy or like join a group, and specifically for men's mental health, join a men's group. It's okay. It's Facebook
yeah,
groups out there. There's Instagram groups. There's TikTok groups. There's groups everywhere for that you can join. And I know people say that all the time, but like it actually will help.
it
It's
really
actually
is. Yeah.
beneficial. It's actually
Yep.
groups out there,
Hmm.
thousands, if not millions.
I would say with it's thousands of them with thousands of people. Because a lot of times we feel like our stories are unique and what we're going through, it's a us thing, but there's really nothing new under the sun. And so you'll find somebody who has gone through your same thing or something similar, and you're like, damn, I
They
aspire
can,
to be like
mm-hmm.
that. And they can guide you along, whether it's one-on-one in a group setting or whatever. But I always tell people, like, I don't use Facebook, but I definitely use Facebook groups.
Groups
Like, I'm
is
in
yeah.
Facebook groups for a
I'm
lot
in
of
a few
different
groups.
things.
I'm in a few groups myself.
Yeah, they're very, very
Mm-hmm.
powerful. Even if you just sit back and
Yeah,
read
you don't
and
even
just
have to
learn.
participate, but
Hmm.
reading and learning is definitely the route to go. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
with that as well. Um,
yeah,
what are other things like letting yourself rest? Yeah, letting yourself rest without guilt. Come on now. Apologizing with
I don't know how to do
accountability
that yet.
and not shame. Okay. Unlearning is it's a practice. It's not just a one-time decision. So make the
Yeah.
decision for yourself.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I feel like if you're going to choose a life to evolve, because everybody's not buying into it or subscribing to it, people are going to hear it and be like, look, man, hey, I'm just trying to make it. You know what I'm saying? Or I don't really care about all that. I'm fine. I ain't nothing wrong. If that's what you subscribe to, then that's what you subscribe to. But if you want more than that, then it's, I don't want to say the wrong thing. I got to get the right words together before I say something maybe that could be offensive or triggering. So just come back to me on
I
that.
got you.
Yeah.
Other things to unlearn things that harmed us is to forgive, but only when you're ready. A lot of people forgive way too soon. Not all people. You see how I did that? A lot of people. A lot of people forgive way too soon and they're not ready to forgive. And it's okay if you need time to process it. Like unlearning sometimes ends with forgiveness, but not to excuse it, but to release. Like you want to release that inner hurt, whatever you got going. Like, no, hold that it's grudges. People hold on to stuff for years, decades. Look, my mom is one of them. Tell you that right now. But being in the condition that she's in now, like that's something that has to sit on her. And the people that's receiving it, they're in a position to where they have to receive it because it's never going to be an opportunity for them to feel any other type of way. I did say never. I said what I said. But
Absolutely, you did. And there's no problem with that because I know what you
yeah,
meant. But that's another episode where we're going to talk solely about absolutes.
nevertheless, we're definitely going to talk about that. But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? You want to become the parent that you needed. And one of the deepest ways to unlearn harm is to become the kind of person that you once needed as a child or in your partner or your friend or just yourself.
Or now, yeah, you could become who you need now. Like, so yeah, I agree with that.
But I think when I think of it to that degree, it's like, I want to be the man who I would have made my younger self feel safe, seen, and enough. You know what I'm saying? So that's in all them areas and categories. So, unlearning is slow and it's brave work though. You know what I'm saying? So it
It is.
requires you to be honest, It requires to go through grief. It can require a community of people and it's compassionate. However, with all these things, it's possible. That's all I'm saying. So don't think just because, oh, I got hurt as a kid, I'm gonna be like this for the rest of my life. No, you can unlearn it. It's ways for you to unlearn it. It's okay to unpack pain. Okay, find find
It is. I like
find
that.
find the tools. They are out there. Look at the look at the culture that we're in now. Look at you listening to us right now. This is you're unpacking right now and you don't even know it. Come on, somebody.
Come on, somebody.
But every time you make a new choice to feel instead of flee, it speaks to you because you're not shutting down. You're opening up and you're also breaking a cycle. So, yeah, that's how the healing began. Keep healing, y'all. It's okay.
I like that. And don't quit. The reason why people advocate so much for healing is because they know what it looks like on the other side. It's like being in a car. You're headed to pick a place that's your favorite place. You know what I'm saying? Or somewhere that you're really trying to get to. And you're in the car going there. You don't want to be stuck in traffic. Whatever. You're waiting. It's you hot. Your AC don't work. One of the windows in the back don't roll down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Ain't got no water. You're running on E. But it's a lot,
Come on,
right?
somebody.
But you're still going to that place. And when you make it there, it's like, that's what I sat there for. This concert is
It's been
amazing,
long
or
awaited. Yeah,
this restaurant is
it was
great,
worth waiting.
or I can wait to see this family member. So that's why people talk about healing a lot. Most times, and unless they're in it for the money, most people who are speaking about healing are speaking um, from healing an area or areas of their life. And so it's not, it probably won't feel good. It probably will feel daunting. Uh, but I would say just stay the course. And if you feel like I'm getting nowhere, then that's probably your sign to do something different. Um, so if you feel like, look, I can't get over the abuse that I suffered, growing up or whatever. And I've tried this and I've tried that and I've tried this and it just didn't work. Maybe you need to try it again with someone else. Maybe you need to try it along with another skill or seek some professional help, or maybe get out of this community. You tried it, but you tried it
Mm-hmm.
here in this location. Try it there and see what it looks like there. I tried reading and that doesn't work. Or did you try it at the beach? Did you try it at a pool? Did you try it at the park? You know what I'm saying? Like doing something different. It doesn't have to be a big grandiose thing. It could be one small thing. I can't journal at my house, man. They're gonna laugh at me. Okay, well, have you decided to take a walk? You know what I'm saying? Just go take a walk and use your notes and journal and see how that makes you feel. The the healing needs to take place. You deserve that, male or female. You deserve to live a healed life. You deserve to the things, the desires of your heart. You deserve to have those. I believe, just now. This is me speaking broad over all people with the assumption that all people are good people. That's not saying what I believe. I'm just saying this is the advice that I'm giving. I believe that you deserve that, and so you deserve to be happy and you should do whatever it takes to get your happiness. Don't give up on you like other people have, or that you wish that somebody came to save you and they didn't, or whatever it is. Don't give up on you. Once you heal this area, you're going to see how good that feels, and you're going to continue to do that in life. And it's not going to be as hard as the first time. The first time, you got an empty toolbox. But as you go through life, you acquire, like you said, you acquire new tools, you acquire new resources, you acquire support, you acquire new techniques. So now when something pops up and it's like, oh, shoot, I do that because I did it in my last 3 relationships. And it was because, okay, let me fix it. Now it becomes a little bit quicker. It's a little bit easier, but starting out empty, you know what I'm saying? It's a little hard. But it's so worth it. So I definitely encourage you to, hey, whatever you can. You gotta talk to somebody, you gotta go to groups, you gotta read books, you gotta journal, you gotta whatever it is that you gotta do it, and do not give up on yourself. Just keep going. Like literally keep going. And if that whatever that is, if it's not working, or if it doesn't feel like it's working, or you feel like you're not making any progress,
Try
switch it up,
something
do
else.
something different.
Exactly. And
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be okay. It really it's
It
gonna be
is.
okay.
It is. It is. And that's a very broad thing to say. And I remember when I was going through all my hurt, when people like, it's going to be okay, you're like, I don't feel it. I don't see it. I don't believe it. It hasn't been okay. It hasn't been okay for 20, 30, 15, 6, 8 years. It hasn't been okay. And you trying to tell me it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
But it will be. It will be okay. I believe in you. Whether nobody's ever told you before that they believe in you, I believe in you, and I don't even know you. Somebody told me that before, and I was like, yeah, right. But it actually worked. I was like, okay, hold on. This lady said that she believed in me. Like, okay. And it worked and it inspired me. So you're going to be good. You're going to be okay. I have faith, and you got to keep the faith. You got to keep hope. You got to do
Yeah,
it.
and just because we say it here, because I believe in you too. Just because we say it and we don't actually know you personally, or if we do know you personally, just know that we
Mm-hmm.
really mean it. Like we really mean
Mm-hmm.
it, because we know what we're
Mm-hmm.
capable of as people, as
Yep.
individuals, as males, as
Yep.
females, as black males, as black females. Like we know the capability, and
Yeah.
it's more than you can imagine. It's
Yep.
astronomically more. I didn't even say the word right. Astronomically more.
Yeah. No, it really, really is. It really, really is. And once you start that journey, your eyes are going to open. Oh, it's like the Matrix. It's like the red pill and the blue pill. It's kind of
That
like
was
that.
hard.
But yeah, your eyes are going to open, and you're going to be like, okay, I didn't even realize that I was living like this. I don't like it. I do want better for myself. And you're going to keep that same mindset throughout life. You're going to keep wanting more and more. Not like the whole consumerist way, but like even just, I want more happiness. I want more joy. I don't feel like it's obtainable because of whatever I grew up in or whatever society's trying to tell me, but it actually is. You living the life that you want to live is not far fetched. It just requires the work.
Mm,
That's all. It just
that's
requires the
hard.
work, and you could do it. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It's attainable. The fact that you've seen that somebody else has it means that it's within reach. Somebody grabbed it, so it's within human reach to get it done. So you can do it too. You can do it. Whatever it is that you desire in your heart, you could do it. You can. I mean, within reason. You can't grow like bionic arms or something like that. I don't know, but you can do it. You really can. It's so cliche, but it's cliche because it's been said so many times because it works so much. It becomes cliche, like nah, whatever. Oh, everybody's great. Oh, okay, but it really is true. It really is true. The cliches work.
It is work, but with that, you can also tie that into, but like, you know what? If somebody would have said to me when I was younger, or if I had the ability to say this to my younger self, this is us saying it to you, so you can say it to people that's around you, or one of your
Mm-hmm.
children, or people that you mentor, or somebody that probably needs to hear it, and you don't even know that they need to hear it, but they need to hear it.
Yep. Yep.
But nevertheless, even with that, what is one thing that you wish someone had said to you in regards to emotional stability or intelligence or mental health, um, or what you wish they would have taught you about emotions and struggle?
I wish that I would have been taught that everybody feels emotions differently because I have really big emotions and I always have. And the way that I feel about something is okay. That's how I feel about it. And it doesn't have to be how somebody thinks I should feel about, you know, any one particular thing. If something makes somebody else laugh or makes me cry, that's okay. And I wish I would have, I really wish I would have been taught that. Um, like I said before, I wasn't really taught anything at all really about it, but I wish I would have been taught that it's okay to have big emotions because I do, and how to navigate life through that. As a child, I had all these emotions and I didn't know what to do with them, so I just became angry
Mhm.
because that's the one that seems acceptable. Everybody got one. As soon as I walk outside my door or open my eyes, people angry in the house and outside the house. So it seems like anger is okay. But outside of that, or even the reasons of why we became angry, that's not okay to talk about. That's not okay to feel. That's not okay to experience. And so I wish somebody taught me that. And then with that, like I said, well, kind of just going deeper into it, it's just like how to regulate those things. Like, yes, it is okay to feel them, but do you know that you have the power to control them? I didn't learn that until I went to therapy. I thought, well, I'm angry and this and that, or I'm happy, or whatever the emotion is or the feeling is. I thought it was just something that comes over me, and it may, but you have the ability to change it. You can change it instantly. You can change it through work. You can change it however you want to, but you have the ability to change your emotions. That is something that you can control. You might feel like you're not in
Right,
control, but you do have the ability
to change it.
to change it. And I don't mean suppress it. I really mean to change your your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts. So I wish that I would have been taught that as a child, um, because I would have I would have avoided a lot of things in life. So, what about you?
There are so many, so many. I wish somebody would have looked me right dead in my eyes and said, "What you're feeling makes sense.
Hmm.
You're not too much. You don't have to pretend that you're okay to be loved. I wish someone had told me that, being sad doesn't make me feel broken. The anger that I feel inside, it isn't evil. Um, it's often just pain that's just sitting alone too long.
Mm-hmm.
um, I wish they had shown me that it's strength, but the strength isn't silence. It's to be real, and it is standing, still standing. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I wish somebody would have taught me how to stay in the hard moments instead of running from them. Running was
Mm.
easy. That's why we did it. But sitting in that moment and understanding like it's okay to feel this, or somebody would have taught me to stay. That it's okay to sit in discomfort,
Mm-hmm.
to not have all the answers, to cry without rushing to be stopped. It's okay that struggle isn't a sign of failure.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of being human. Um, I wish someone would have said that you don't have to do this alone.
Mm-hmm.
You're not allowed to ask for help.
Are you
Yeah,
okay?
I'm good.
Mm-mm.
Am I having one of them moments now?
Exactly. What are you feeling?
I'm feeling relief. Oh, I'm
Mm.
feeling release. But yeah, it's okay to, you don't have to do this alone. That you are, I apologize, that you are allowed to ask for help and still be a man. That you can hurt and still be worthy. Mostly, I wish somebody would have just shown me that the emotions weren't things to fear, to suppress, or to fix,
Mm-hmm.
but things to feel and understand and move through.
Mm-hmm.
I wish someone would have had a model what that looked like to me. I wish I didn't have to learn it so late and in a painful way. But
Yeah.
that's what I wish somebody would have said to me.
I I appreciate you for saying all of that and sharing that and even having that moment of being vulnerable.
Tapping in.
Uh I do. I appreciate that because it's sometimes it's just as simple as that of looking and saying like, what am I feeling right now? How am I feeling? Um, and of course, I mean, we're talking about emotions and feelings all
Right.
throughout this episode. Of course, it's gonna stir up something not just for us, but for the people who are watching this as well. You know, they may start thinking about the things that they've been feeling and why
It's
do
a
they feel it.
reflection, so
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you said a whole bunch of great shit. like, like literally, you said a whole bunch of great shit. Some shit that I was sitting here like, man, am I about to cry? Damn. Like, I wish I was taught a lot of that stuff too. I really, really do. Um, I think we should have an episode on like self esteem and yeah, I'll just leave it
we'll,
at that
we'll, we'll get into it
because
for sure.
yeah, a lot of the stuff that you brought up, it's like it affects this your mental health and stuff like that. It affects your self esteem. We'll say all the time, like, "Oh yeah, I'm this, I'm that. I know I'm this, and but it's like when you lay down. I always say when you lay your head down at
What you're
night,
telling
because I'm
yourself.
assuming
Mm-hmm.
you by yourself. Yeah. What are you telling
Mm-hmm.
yourself, right? And you probably don't feel as good as you portray to be.
Whew.
And yeah, and with that, it's like when I said earlier in this episode, like, try to figure out what are you feeling. Maybe take some of those moments when you lay your head down, shit, even if you can't sleep. Because I've had periods in life where I couldn't even sleep because the thoughts of where the fuck I am and where I want to be are clashing. They fighting. I can't sleep. It's too much noise. You know what I'm saying? Survey that. Survey yourself. Get to know yourself. Be honest with yourself. If you can't be honest with anyone else in this world, be honest with yourself. You owe it to yourself to be honest. To know that you had the ability to change and didn't. To know that you did have the answers at one point and you chose not to do it. Be honest with yourself, forgive yourself, and keep going. You know what I mean? So, um, yeah, you said a lot of great stuff. You said so much stuff. It's like it's all going in my mind. But self-esteem was a big one, because our mental health is really tied to that. Not what we portray and not what we assume other people are or what they have. It's like you get to know you, get to know you,
This
discover you.
honestly, this is probably another topic that we'll dive back into another time for sure because
Yeah,
it's not just an hour or two topic. This is something that goes on for life. This is a for
yeah,
lifer. You know what I'm saying?
for a lifer.
So with that, do you have any closing remarks or comments?
Again, happy
Happy
Father's
Father's
Day.
Day to everybody. To the
Uh,
fathers. Happy Father's Day to the
to the
fathers
fathers, to the
and soon to be
fathers. You
fathers.
know what I'm saying? To the fathers and soon to be fathers. Yes, happy Father's Day to you. For a man, when it comes to your mental health, if you got to start in silence and working on yourself, do it. Uh, I know that from what I'm gathering from the men that I've experienced, I've for years I've been working with men and their mental health. That's just something I'm really passionate about because if the men have a lot of control on the things in the world, they hold the key to a lot
Right.
of things, relationships, careers, things like that. And if we can if we can fix that, or if we can start working on that, then I think that lives and families and things like that would, be getting better. That's not to say that women don't have any work to do, because we do, but women talk about it more. They do something about it more than men do. So work on it. If you got to work on it by yourself, do it. But if you can seek some type of help, do that. Um, just know that there is more than likely another man who feels like you right where you are in life. And he was able to make it out. He was able to make it through. He was able to live the life that he wants. He was able to live a life that he never even imagined was possible before. And you can do the same because it happened before. It can happen again. If you're religious, if he did it before, he could do it again. Okay. I do believe in God. So I would say invite God in this walk. But if you don't believe in that or whatever, then more power to you, and do what you need to do. Um, I would love to see the day where we can end toxic masculinity, because it's not realistic, and all it is doing is pushing hurt from generation to generation to generation to generation. For women, I would appreciate if y'all would stop participating in toxic masculinity and reinforcing that, because you sometimes benefit from it. And we could talk about that in a whole nother episode about toxic masculinity. But women do benefit from that, and they help perpetuate that. And I think that it's wrong. Um, and at the end of the day, it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to stay that way, is basically what I want to say. All that rhymed. But I didn't mean to. But yeah, that would be my thing. And if you need somebody to talk to, like we always say, like our inbox is
It
always open.
is.
We got a Patreon, like whatever y'all want. Y'all want to talk to us? Y'all want to come on the show? Y'all want to just message us, DM us, whatever it is that you need. Now, we are not therapists. We cannot give y'all like sound advice. You know what I'm saying? You take it or leave it. This is for entertainment purposes only. But I don't want to put that out there, disclaimer. But yeah, talk to somebody and take it day by day. Sometimes you might have to take a baby step. Sometimes you're gonna have to take that big leap. But either way, you're headed towards the life that you desire for yourself. So be kind to yourself. There's so much I could say, but I'm gonna stop so you can talk.
I think even as we're wrapping up, I don't even feel like we touched a tip of the iceberg, and
I
it's
know.
tough, because it's so
Yeah.
much I feel like has been left unsaid or wasn't
Yeah.
dug into deeper. But
Mm-hmm.
today we kind of did walk into like the quiet spaces that I think I've dealt with and maybe other people have dealt with in
Mm-hmm.
their inner worlds. And we talked about, fathers and sometimes silence. We talked about, what we were taught, me as a boy or young man growing up, and Ash as a young lady growing up as well. And what we were allowed to feel, what we did feel, what we never felt, things to that degree. We asked hard
Mm-hmm.
questions about masculinity, kind of, sort of, but I gave kind of hard answers. And yeah, I kind of did ask some questions about masculinity a little bit
Yeah.
and about
Yeah.
childhood and about how we can carry what no one has ever helped us like put down. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
and maybe, just maybe you recognize some of this stuff in yourself, you know. And if you did, this can be your reminder that you're
Yeah.
not weak for feeling. You're not broken for
That's real.
struggling, and you're not alone. Okay. Sometimes you can still ask yourself other questions as well. Like what have healing looked like for you as a child? Or what kind of man would you want to grow up to be now? Or if you're raising young, strong black men or young men in general, like what does emotional safety look like to your child in their childhood? For their little
Mm-hmm.
girls as well. Like it works both ways, but particularly we're talking about men and young boys.
Mm-hmm.
And how can you model that vulnerability without shame?
Yeah.
We also tapped in a little bit about unlearning things that may have harmed us, and it's not always a straight line. Sometimes life got a curveball, and life is lifelong, and it unfolds different type of ways. So every
Mm-hmm.
time you have to speak to yourself honest, sit with that discomfort, or ask for help. We are help. We are
That's
help.
true. Facts.
And you can rewrite your story from that point on and be the person that you want to be. Tell the story that you want
Yep.
to tell. It's not just for
Yep.
yourself, but for the boys watching this and the young man that's watching this right now. It's for the sons. This is for the students and for the next generation of men. Help is out there. Help is right here.
And for the old ass men.
And for the old ass man. Help is out there. Help is.
My bad,
Nah,
y'all.
you good.
For men of a particular
Right.
age, it's never too late. It's never, ever, ever too late. Ever, ever, ever too late. It's never too late.
Yeah, because healing isn't just about becoming someone else. It's finally becoming who you want to be and who you are. Who I wanted to be and who I was, or who I want to be and who I was are two different people. And who I'm trying to become
Mm-hmm.
is a different person as well. So, you gotta break the shells. You gotta go through thresholds. You gotta become this idea that you see in your head, and that's possible
Yeah.
through all the things or most of the things that we stated in this podcast today. So
Yeah.
I want to thank y'all for stepping in the gray with us today. This has been RDJ and Ash, or Threes, however you want to,
Yeah.
however you want to be called.
It's threes.
And if you have any questions that you want to ask, if you also want to be on a podcast, feel free to hit our DMs. Message us on Patreon. Can they message us on Patreon?
Yeah, if they join our Patreon. If y'all go
I
to
had to
Enter the Grey
ask because you
podcast
know what
on
I'm saying.
Instagram.
The messages, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, you asked the right question. I was doing that for
You
them,
feel me?
not for
Yeah,
you.
yeah. But nevertheless, like, share, comment, subscribe. Thank y'all for always tuning in. We will be back again next week. Same time, same place.
Yeah.
Y'all stay curious, stay open, keep questioning. And above all, y'all stay human. Okay? It's okay to feel.
It's all right. Okay? You got this.
Thank y'all for entering the gray watchers. Until next time.
Bye.